From the very first episode of Game of Thrones, one man understood something the others did not. While kings fought wars, knights chased glory, and lords defended honor, Peter Baelish, better known as Littlefinger, played a completely different game. He did not rely on armies, dragons, or noble blood. His weapon was information. His shield was chaos. And his genius strategy was simple but deadly. Make everyone depend on you while never truly belonging to anyone. Littlefinger was born with almost nothing. He had no powerful house behind him, no legendary surname, and no great army to command. In a world where power usually passed through bloodlines, this made him invisible. And that invisibility became his greatest strength. While others were noticed, watched, and judged, Littlefinger slipped through the cracks. People underestimated him because they thought power had to look loud and proud. He proved that real power often whispers. What made Littlefinger untouchable was not one bold move, but a long, patient plan built on small decisions. He never rushed. He never revealed his full hand. Instead, he positioned himself in places where secrets passed through. He listened more than he spoke. He remembered everything. And most importantly, he made sure that every powerful person in Westeros needed him for something: money, information, or a quiet solution to a dirty problem. One of his smartest moves was choosing chaos over loyalty. In Westeros, loyalty was dangerous. If you stood too firmly with one side, you fell when that side lost. Littlefinger avoided this trap. He never fully committed. Instead, he stirred conflict between others, then stepped back to watch them weaken each other. When chaos spread, people looked for someone clever enough to navigate it. That someone was always Littlefinger. His famous belief, "Chaos is a ladder," was not just a clever line. It was the foundation of his strategy. Chaos breaks old systems. It removes powerful people from their positions. And in the confusion, new players can climb. Littlefinger did not fear chaos. He created it. While others tried to restore order, he thrived in disorder, because disorder erased the advantages of birth and tradition. Littlefinger also understood something many characters never learned. Power does not come from strength, but from leverage. He collected leverage like treasure. A secret affair. A hidden crime. A quiet debt. Each piece of information became a thread he could pull when needed. He didn't threaten people openly. He made them afraid of what he might know. That kind of fear is far more effective than swords. Money was another key part of his strategy. As master of coin, Littlefinger controlled the crown's finances. He borrowed heavily, spreading the kingdom's debt across many powerful lenders. On the surface, this looked reckless. But it was brilliant. By tying the throne to so many debts, he made himself necessary. Removing him would collapse the system. As long as he managed the mess, he stayed protected. Littlefinger also mastered the art of appearing harmless. He smiled. He joked. He acted like a man who loved pleasure more than power. This disguise allowed others to lower their guard. They shared secrets in his presence because he didn't seem threatening. They laughed at him instead of fearing him. By the time they realized how dangerous he was, it was already too late. Another part of his genius strategy was never being the face of evil. Littlefinger rarely swung the sword himself. He let others do the dirty work. When bad things happened, suspicion fell elsewhere. When wars began, other names were blamed. He stayed clean while blood soaked the ground around him. This distance from violence made him harder to accuse and easier to trust. Littlefinger also knew how to adapt. When one plan failed, he did not panic. He adjusted. When one ally died, he found another. When one path closed, he created a new one. He never clung to pride or past decisions. Survival mattered more than ego. This flexibility kept him alive while stronger and prouder men fell. His relationship with powerful families was carefully balanced. He never challenged them directly. Instead, he positioned himself as useful. He offered solutions when problems appeared. He gave advice when confusion ruled. Slowly, he became part of the machinery of power. Removing him would have required effort and risk, and most rulers preferred comfort over caution. Littlefinger's genius strategy also involved controlling perception. He understood that what people believe matters more than what is true. He spread rumors carefully. He shaped narratives quietly. If two people distrusted each other, he encouraged it. If someone needed to look guilty, he made sure the story fit. By guiding how events were interpreted, he guided outcomes without ever stepping into the spotlight. For a long time, this strategy made him untouchable. Kings rose and fell. Hands of the king were executed. Great houses were destroyed. Through it all, Littlefinger survived. Not because he was lucky, but because he never played the same game as everyone else. While others fought for control, he fought for relevance. And relevance is harder to kill. However, even the best strategy has a weakness. Littlefinger's plan depended on one thing above all else: people underestimating him. As long as others believed he was harmless, he stayed safe. But once people began to see clearly, his protection faded. The same secrecy that once shielded him became a prison. When his web of lies was exposed, there was nothing solid beneath it. His downfall came when he misjudged the people around him. For once, he assumed he was the smartest person in the room. He believed he could manipulate everyone as he always had. But the game had changed. The players had learned. And the chaos he loved no longer worked in his favor. Still, his death does not erase his brilliance. For most of the series, Littlefinger outplayed kings, warriors, and legends. He rose from nothing and reshaped the fate of the realm. His genius strategy, embracing chaos, collecting leverage, avoiding loyalty, and controlling perception, kept him untouchable longer than almost anyone else in Westeros. Littlefinger's story is a reminder that power does not always wear a crown. Sometimes, it stands in the shadows, smiling, listening, and waiting. And by the time you notice it, it may already be too late. Power in Game of Thrones was never just about crowns or swords. Sometimes, it belonged to the quiet man in the corner who listened while others talked. Littlefinger showed us that the most dangerous players are not always the strongest, but the smartest. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the genius strategy that made Littlefinger untouchable, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the minds that shaped Westeros.